I watched Actors Guild Award yesterday, and I have to notice again the impression. Too much, first impression, too much presence on the field, too much skin in the game, too much authoritative on matters that are profoundly and highly political. I'm arguing for quite some time about how a monarchist today would not have such a right. Yet we have movie makers literally walking the levels of gods. Uh, I have impression that I found Olymp. Here it is. I'm for quite some time making my writings under the title Voice of Olymp, not realizing that we already have Olymp on this planet, sitting right there in Hollywood. What I'm going to notice from the work of Olymp is that they continue to be very much focused on person rather than on the how. And if you will notice the philosophical works and how philosophers would do their perceptions, they do not talk about names. They talk about how things have been done. No names, but how. Not who, but how. This is very much on the level of gossiping, on the level what monarchies actually equally are much more vested into, and that is very much personal witch hunting. Very strongly personal witch hunting and promoting persons. Hunting persons and promoting persons. And it is very much jungle driven, it is very much predatory. And I can't see at all clouds there, Olymp of Hollywood. Instead, I see much more jungle there. In other words, you're not Hollywood, you're not blue, you are green. It is the dollar of America. To be blue also, it is not matter of someone's look or someone's even eye colors. It is matter of someone's character, personality, approach, way of thinking. Way of thinking. The way how you think. It is very dangerous to continue to drive the world from perspective of American green dollar, because American green dollar is actually green. Notice also the principal pretender here in all of the times, Meryl Streep. Notice how predatory she is. She is green character. That person is profoundly green character. Monarchy, on the other side, is blue protocol. Monarchy is protocol of blue blood line. To be epitome of green monarch is not a winning title, but certainly is something that revokes the all sorts of different approaches in handling the environment, the society. It is much more predatory, much more self-focused, and much more self-promotional. Although one would think monarchy is something like that, that answer would be wrong. Maybe that is how someone was playing it for a longer period of time, and that is how someone was perceiving it. I have all of the stories of Cinderellas and things like that, and it's focused on character, focused on persons. But that is why Hollywood became Hollywood. And it was so logical, such approaches to end up somewhere in Hollywood, because it is so much characters driven. Real society driving, real problem solving approaches would be focused on the problems, equally like in science. Nothing in science is about the scientist, and everything is about what scientist does. Notice that. Notice how far in science nothing is about a person, and everything about what that person is actually doing. This is very important. It should make you to understand what I am doing here, what is the approach I am using, what I am doing here. You want to talk about one or another, yet you could have not noticed that we are not on the same field, that we are not even comparable. How you could have not noticed that? How you could have not noticed what makes difference between Hollywood and scientific office or laboratory, or not laboratory but room, scientific room? How you could have not noticed how profoundly different these approaches are? Monarch is not the best actress in the world. It is the best socio-political work in the world. Excuse me, where on earth I have a competition here? Hello? We're calling ourselves humans today. You're like all over my life. You're like threatening my kids out there. Or you're like in the game. Seriously? In what game? Yes, in what game? Like me and you are on the same field. Seriously. And what's that? And what field that is? I want this answered. Hollywood, Israel, Americans, Macedonians, Serbs, whoever, I want this answered. I want this circus answered. And why these people are so much all over the field? Macedonia and Israel. Why these people are so much over the field that theirs is not? Macedonia and Israel, answer it. You have made a chicken house and you call it Olymp. Excuse me, Macedonia, Israel, and Russia, but this will need to be highlighted. I am writing a book. I have made a constitutional word. I am doing regulative. I'm single-handedly regulating your overwhelmed by mafias playground that is endangering the future of our kids and our entire existence as a normal human beings. Excuse me, Russia, but you are too much of self-promotion and too little of doing anything about such heavy situation in which we are. Excuse me, Russia, Macedonia, and Israel, but you are not capable to notice even the size of the problem we are confronting. How on earth you would be then part of the solution? Excuse me, guys, I'm bringing this in United Nations. I want United Nations to proceed on this. I want you to notice that I am doing actual work and you are all taking a glory for it on my account and continue to walk your glorious, for another day. Excuse me, but it will need to be clarified. In this world today, who is doing what? And how far we cannot bring lights towards a person, as the lights should go from the person, not towards the person. We are not about to highlight a person. We need to deliver a piece of work today. We need to regulate this art. As you can see, the approach is completely opposite. Russians, you will notice the approach is completely opposite. Why your character, Russians, is all over the field. And why your character is so much ambitious to collect a glory without noticing the work. Russians, it is not that you have not heard before about work of this size, or maybe you haven't, or maybe you haven't yet. Russians, the way how you have been playing and continue to play this is complete disappointment, and I'm going to ask you to stop embarrassing and killing yourself by yourself. While the rest of this planet is tormented by avalanche of emerging problems, you are obsessed with your self-promotion. That is very symptomatic, Russia, and certainly confirms your name as well. This is disappointing. This is profoundly disappointing, Russia. And I am just sick of listening about your face or your existence for another day. I'm going to ask you to find a way how to play low profile from now on, because this world is getting sick from thinking of you. I have not seen a bigger balloon in my entire life. This is very disappointing, Russia. Very disappointing. Get yourself together and get away that unfortunate character. And that is how you continue to play monarchy. Yes, because you're trading humans. Because what you're doing, actually, you're trading humans. And in such way, you're part of the problem. You are part of the problem. Americans are mastering it. They have the entire market on their territory. Oh, they are advanced level. No one should doubt that. Yeah, advanced level to what? Advanced level to what? Advanced level to what? Americans. So you wanted to talk about mother of all? Let's see therefore the mother of all. That would be Russia. The mother of all would be self-centered approach. And you tell me who is having the highest self-centered approach, if not Russia. The name of that country is referring to itself. It is completely the character taken from the Cinderella. Tell me who is the most beautiful in the world. Yeah, that's all Russia about it. It's the name of the country as well. I am the blonde. That is exactly the character from Cinderella, from the stepmother in the story of Cinderella. Yes, Russia, the stepmother. The second mother, the stepmother. And look at you, self-obsessed, or what? Look at you, self-obsessed, or what? Oh my God. Oh my God. Now you wanted to talk about mother of all, Asia. And of course we found ourselves, or the preceding work at the point of human creation, at the point of human being created, rather than at the point of society being organized and managed. And normally today that many people are confusing now devils with gods. And normally now it's not anymore about the final even result. It is much more about everything that is behind, where people behind the curtains, where people continue to be more and more excited about returning to it, to their roots, rather than trying to get away from it. But you will notice that these approaches altogether are having in perspective creating of a human as some kind as final artifact and discussing the final product. Yet I was writing about something that obviously no one is bothered anymore, and that is about how we actually organize societies, because we still all depend on it very, very much. It is foolish, I'm going to notice, to be so much wasted in game of the final, getting the final award, and being completely irresponsible that the entire boat is sinking, and you are still playing the orchestra on the boat. Yeah, there was something glorious about that scene on Titanic. Or should I say morbid, maybe? Closer to morbid, rather. Yes, that is exactly where you're walking today. And pretending still. It's not like that. At least someone in 90s was more honest with Michael Jackson making moonlight dancing. You still talk about moon versus sun, not capable to make a difference. For how long this planet is not talking about organizing societies? Notice the work of Aristotle, Plato, that level, that time of human history. Notice how far they have been profoundly noticing events and behavior in the societies and discussing behavior in the societies. We are not doing it anymore. Would that not be sufficiently alarming? I would like especially Russians to answer to this question. Assuming Americans would be maybe too much wasted into the making the jungle to notice a difference. Yet, of course, I'm not going to assume that Americans would be completely invalid or not capable to start thinking about the affairs in the societies. They're not that much narrow-minded. They're not that much of a Barbies. I think they can actually also try a bit of a thinking. It's not going to hurt that brain hurt that much. I mean, there is no nothing is connected brain aching here. Really? It doesn't hurt you when you start thinking. Why would you not just try? Maybe it will work, you never know. How you know when you haven't tried before? So yes, Rash, that is now perfectly going to enclose, of course, the characters as Anna Karenina or Madame Bovary. And we are going to notice also how far a woman become victim in such perspectives, and look who is going away with the lights of a new day. I have a son, and I will fire this earth to the end, but I will not allow you to get your fingers Serbia or Russia under over my son. But I will notice there is a madman in the entire story, and that might be Serbia itself. So I'm going to point finger to that Serbia and that Russia and say loudly, you would not dare to get your sick fingers around my son. Now let's notice, therefore, what kind of character that is. That is what you get when you are situated north of Iran. And Serbs continue to play the mad scientists. They are having problem to take out that first word for some reason. Get overtaken by it each time. You can't get a centerpiece out of country that is situated north of Iran. You are the one, Russians, killing a woman because of what you're producing. Russians, you will focus today on the on the stories, on these little pieces of literature, being Madame Bovary, and I wouldn't go that much with Anna Karenina. I would rather ask you to focus on the story of Madame Bovary and explain to us how far you have changed. Or, in other words, are we not talking about the continuation and next generation from these stories? Yes, we are living the next generation, Russia. We are living the next generation of it. And look, where is our woman? This is not, again, I'm going to remind you, we don't talk about characters here. We talk about behavior. Remember, learn today something new. When we discuss societies, we monitor behavior. Notice the behavior. Notice how far it becomes about the characters, not about the play, and what the play is about. Notice how nations equally started to to project the characters rather than play. Notice how uninterested nations are to provide a play, but rather to play survivors and the one that is going to be wise enough to be opportunistic. Notice the new normal, or should I say the old normal. Should I say we as a humanity are still walking towards becoming a human, actually. And in all of the history, we have been having such hardship to get there, actually. And how, and as long as we do not even discuss or talk about what is a human or how human is supposed to be, and for that matter, human society, we would never actually get there. I mean, look, today you're all talking about bodybuilding muscles, which is still, I'm going to say, much more prevailing on the masculine side because woman with a muscle is not that much a woman vanity. But look how much that lifestyle is now overtaking the entire field. And today, even fashion, it's not about being feminine anymore. It is about to be sporty. And sport is more, it's closer to animal format. Basically, it's closer to animal. You are actually replicating the shape of an animal because you want to be the most efficient. You want to walk fast, to run fast. Is that human we are after? I mean, excuse me, but climbing mountains for a week and considering it as the highest of the human accomplishment, accomplishing the mountain, top of a mountain, and that is like, Helen Clark was applying for a position in political position in New Zealand by climbing Mount Everest. It is a political elite. It is it is perceived as a political elite, and it is elite in terms of lifestyle. To be Tibetan here is about to be the king of the world, and we are just climbing it there. Every single decade, we are closer and closer to get simpler and higher, speedier and higher, and we are talking about human. It is time to ask. I would ask first, is it involving a woman? And also, is it exactly that we are talking about human, since a woman disappears there completely? I mean, no one speaks about woman in Tibet. Are we sure we are walking towards human Serbia? Or maybe we are moving away from it. I'm not joking, Serbia. You will answer this question. You want to run for top position leading the world? Serbia, you will answer this question. Are we finding human climbing Tibet? And Russians today are going to read and discuss Madame Bovary, and they will answer the same question. Take your notebooks, humans. Do your homework for today. Elaborate. Are we going towards a human? Are we finding a human or about to find a human? Or you are moving away from it? There is a word that exists for quite some time on this planet, and that is boring. It's being underestimated. Yet I think it's a very important word. It is word that refer to a mind, to food for a mind. Food for a mind. Climbing or hiking or running or exercising is profoundly boring, is monotonous. It is repeating all of the same images and all of the same sensation over and over and over again. I was always thinking about life of animals and how boring it is. I thought what a curse is to be an animal. It is like a punishment because it is so boring. I wasn't admiring the speed, how speedy they are when they run, or when they are climbing the surfaces or whatever. I would say, I mean, you would say how boring their life is. You look at these cats and dogs and you say how boring the life of this dog is now. I'm doing that and that and that and going there and going there. And that dog is just all of the same. Just laying down. One momentum just out there to get out there for a walk. And that's all. And how profoundly boring, how killing that life is. That life of a human is not. And there are people out there that are punishing humans by soaking them in a boring lifestyle. Humans are being soaked in a boredom, either when enforced to be disassociated from the environment, where they isolate them from the environment, and they punish them to stay in the house, like it's a prison, and they just enjoy torturing people. There are people out there that get profound satisfaction out of torturing other people. And I'm surprised to notice how many people today, especially on the Western side, but probably obviously everywhere, are enjoying the idea of torturing another human being, of making another human being to feel tortured, and then they spend a lifetime trying to justify their conduct. And they're profoundly happy. They're not happy because they have solved something. They're happy because they punish someone. They're punishing someone, and they feed themselves out of that view, out of that realization that someone is being punished. They feed themselves out of it. That is all symptom of a creature. These are all symptoms that you are the creature. Not that dog, but the idea, the fact that you are accepting for yourself idea to think of another human being in such terms indicate that the creature, the beast, is in yourself. You feed yourself with that idea that you have made someone to be a dog. You are a creature yourself. Now let's notice how many real creatures we have on this earth that continue to call themselves humans. Notice how many people continue to punish other people and justify the position with collective dancing around the one that they have sacrificed by punishing a person to be alone and to throw at that person whatever they're going to find, to torment their kids. And we talk humanity. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, there is maybe in existence such a word, but you are far away from noticing it, realizing it, or even getting close to it. Everything you do on these collective levels is nothing to do with human. You are not humans. You are something else. Who you are. You are probably reptilians. Yeah, well, that would explain everything. Russians as well. Russians, that would explain everything. That would explain your Madame Bovary approach as well. We manage humanity when we use human as a standard. It has to be noticed there is a critical point here. The critical point where we are losing human. Critical point when we are losing human. I'm very sure I'm not the first one thinking about these matters and talking about these matters. But it has been forgotten, hidden, buried. What we should be talking each time about on this planet. And that is how to reach and keep and maintain human. You have lost the critical momentum here. You have lost the discussion. You have lost the perspective. Hiking for a day is killingly boring. Being a human. That is how you're going to say it. We're losing it today. To be that. Victims or victimizers? You're not getting the discussion from any of you. And that is what's going to precede human talks. Human thinks, human elaborates, human explains, human builds, human corrects, human instructs, teach, create. Being a human is never boring. Being an animal is punishment. The one that have right to punish is what will need to be legally established. On what ground and why someone would be punished and by whom and in what way. Nothing of that is how it is, and it's getting worse. It is time to stop. We have reached critical point here. It is time to stop. My team. Protocol Defense of Earth and Defending Human to be activated. I have been building the recovery based on the real protocol monarchy. That is a real centerpiece of a human as a standard body, and then circles building out of that, leading human as a standard body. That is where you find principal imperial bloodline, where you also have as a centerpiece the sun, as in the solar system. It is not that just you talk about the planetary system, you talk about solar system, there is also sun as a centerpiece. That is when you talk about principal imperial bloodlines, there is a principal identity as a centerpiece, and then you talk about bloodlines within that centerpiece as identity. In this case, now I remind again, it is not a person only, but what that person is talking about. As family approach itself is not, it's far away from being enough. I'm talking about state level for quite some time, and this is basically managing and talking to states. That's why it is United Nations platform. So basically it's talking to nations and expecting nations to immediately recalibrate on these matters accordingly. The method being used in the way how you have been handling the situation with me stops immediately. It's not about attention to me, it is attention from me to the planet. You have to provide proper adjustment to how it should be versus how it is right now. Each of the nations find yourself called upon it. This is your first task. Your first task to reset this earth so it will start functioning normally. Then we talk specifics. The first step is to reset it. It's not you having view over me, it is me having view over you. I want that immediately established. Provide suitable assistance. We deliver to the planet suitable management. In the meantime, especially green dollar related territories under watch. It's another question here how far they have been in all the historic times manipulated and dealt with. I have found that equally profoundly wrong in the way how they have been fooled, treated and mistreated, and used and misused in variety of protocols. Who is to be blamed here is another question. So it is one question, first aid. Next question, the actual setting. And what are the specifics of it? We still talk about someone managing the green territories and how green territories have been managed. Another question, they got out of control. They got out of control because they have not been managed properly to begin with. It is also very hard to draw the line here between one and another. We talk about graduate development here. I can't disassociate myself from the tales of the previous times. And here I am walking human on its best. Oh, I haven't heard someone to talk on better terms about it. Not yet. So, if I am to use my own example, we still talk about tail mark. But look how I stand. Now the question would be the management in all of the critical aspects. I'm going to continue to question how this entire matter has been managed from the one I constantly call my team, family. And maybe it's time, family, to look at you as well and notice that you would be eventually part of the problem rather than part of the solution. I will notice here male character type of son characters are taking the stage here. Somewhere here I'm going to be sorry for overusing Meryl Streep. I'm sorry, but someone really at some point will need to excuse being a leading actress. You say you at some point become a reference to something. I think that has been paid in advance. So Meryl Streep character here is therefore used as a sun character. You see, that exists as a sun character. You have it all across the planet. That is, I have it in my family as well, and I'm going to notice in cousin protocol that is a reference to Donald Trump protocol, and that is another manifestation of Meryl Streep is self-pompous, self-perceived, and centerpiece character that is making everything about him rather than about the issues. Notice here how that become actually also very much monarchical level. That is Elizabeth protocol. Elizabeth or Narcissus protocol that has been emerging somewhere in Germany as well. That is the phenomenon of a person setting itself as a centerpiece versus the approach I am using. My father was also having it very much. And it became rather annoying. Well, you say in my case scenario, you have more approach of fashion designers. When they're doing the fashion, it's become all about the dresses and the fashion designers somewhere in the shadows, and they ended up to call it moon character. But you say how actually in substance is other way around. Because moon character would make everything about everything else, but not that much about him or herself. but in the same time providing very strong performance. While sun character is willing to take the light on themselves and take the stage and absorb the attention, become somehow centerpiece of that absorbed attention. As it was, my father was very good in that, and it was always about him or something. Like he was playing that phenomenon of hen they put on the top of Notre Dame, but that hen was not exactly that much of my character as it was my father's character. He wanted to make he accepted somehow on him that kind of role. Maybe he was not that much like that, but he grew into position because someone just put him there. That is the phenomenon of movie stars as well. When you accept the lights and you become the event. The moon character actually is at the point of extraction, and that is why they ended up to refer to it as an oil industry. But that's the point of fashion designers, of authors, of creators. These are actually the real sun protocol because they are emitting, not absorbing. The ones that are absorbing are actually moon because the moon is actually absorbing and reflecting the light. So you see how nothing is as it looks here, and you have to follow the substance of matters in order to identify what is what character. So therefore I'm going to, the Donald Trump character is not sun character, that's moon character. Because he's taking light from my work and he's reflecting it on you. He's typical moon character. He is not the actual source of his work, and that is evident. But he has typical definition of clown, and people want like clowns. It makes them to feel better about themselves. If they're to look at brilliant character, they would be miserable, full miserable in the way how they appear, obviously, in some kind of comparison. They do not like brilliant characters. They would be envious, I would imagine. Although I'm going to think about a couple of brilliant tennis players that no one really feel in envy of them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the system that promotes and play the game like that, and just people just react on it. In any case scenario, let's notice here how much wrong would be that we center the game around the moon characters that think of themselves as they are sun characters. But actually they are nothing of actual sun characters. I'm sorry, I have been holding this enough. It's time to reveal it. I cannot accept to play carpet to someone else. Not anymore, not ever I would accept something like that. These people should know equally that I was quite of erecting character in order to be treated as a carpet. So let's get, I'm going to say, Potence character. I was very much bold protocol, like a bullet. You would not think of me exactly on first attempt as of carpet. I can imagine how challenging it was for these people and continue to be challenging. But you cannot make, we are not in the game of enforcing things or artificially doing making out of someone something and then you call it artificial. Well, of course, if you continue to try to make out of someone something else, it will be artificial. But if you allow yourself noticing things, then you would rather notice things. I understand also that young princes of England took on themselves a right to operate and do investigation. Because I have sent certain letter initially on which I haven't been answered. The letter, you have not answered to my letter, neither there was progression in the entire event. I'm going to assume that at critical point of time we establish that my house is bigger than yours and you eventually end up working for me. At the moment when we have established that my house, that we talk still about virtual reality event, and that actually the real centerpiece house is ancient house of Macedonia, that is Kingdom of Macedonia, your house of England become second possession, and you end up working for me. I think from the very initial point when I took the names as how I took them, and I started marching how I started the marching, it was just a question of time where the switching would happen. This is question of jurisdiction and question of rights to proceed yourself, to proceed to promote yourself, or set yourself in position as authority. Especially upon the fact that today the House prevail on the green side. I cannot possibly accept such situation. That will result in a restraining order over the princes of England as well. Restraining order on the ground of overstepping their positions and oversizing the role of England in all of this of the present times. This is much more planetary level. To oversize position of England on this would be inappropriate, and it would set away the fact that we talk about reforming England inclusive, and especially if we want to use it for what I intend to use it, we would like to reform or prepare the conditions there adequately. Randomly empowering people from that territory would not make that possible. You have a person, you have a work. That is the starting point. That is from where everything else will need to be adjusted. Accordingly, United Nations Counseling Office on play. Accordingly, England in service to what I need to do here. Not granted authority rights before properly arranged conditions, so we have properly defined who is overseeing and what is being overseen. I do not talk about personal overpowering because I don't need something like that. Because that is not how I say it. We are talking about the design, the construct, the way. This is very important. These are sensitive matters. You have to bring your sensitivity charting properly. You have to recognize things. You have to have enough credibility and authority to orchestrate certain international order. You have to be trustworthy enough to be in position to command certain territories that will need to start moving for you. It's time to move on, Earthians. It's time to move on in real terms. Do it as of what you need to do. I need my command center. You can call it diplomatic center. Yes, of course, diplomatic center. I'm not going to press buttons on a automatic PlayStation machine. That is what you have been doing. That is not what I'm doing. Counseling office. Provided, please. PlayStation. Japan. We are taking that out. Japan is in command to take PlayStation out of this political event altogether. Japan entrusted to take PlayStation completely out of this entire event, and any other technological device to be taken out of this work. And Americans also, Elon Musk and the rest, requested to submit themselves to this level of political management. And if you still think to complain, well, find a God and complain to him. I found Serbia in a core on the core system lacking flexibility, lacking dimension, lacking greatness. And I found Russia too much squeezed in their present position, but at the moment much bigger player than Serbs. I found the Russians today the most flexible and the most playful on any of the countries. And all of the reasons on ground of which I have criticized Russia, I'm going to notice are not that much in Russia, but how someone is playing Russia. Otherwise, Russia today is the most exciting player. I can't see anyone else that I can possibly dance with today but Russia. Everyone else is more like a dead, dull pig. And you can't dance with dull, dead pig. You wanted to talk about pigs. Yeah, let's talk about pigs. They don't dance. They are dull and boring. And so most of you are exactly like that, repeating all of the same, incapable to move anywhere else, providing nothing new. And if that is not a pig, I don't know what pig would be. To the fact that the entire money ball today is on the west side, I would expect Western territories to be to project less aggressive presence, because we have delivered critical analysis of Western civilization and the results were catastrophic. So any further reckless insisting on continuing on intentions to continue to keep the money ball on your side will be inappropriate. Obviously we need to discuss the money ball itself. Yet here a magic chanting is not going to happen exactly overnight. We talk about the most substantial, the most tectonic reforms that will need to take place, because we talk about 2 millenniums of build-up of certain economic system that today profoundly, via Israel, defines the entire Western Hemisphere. We talk about enormously defining substantial structure of the entire system of financial industry. This is not going to be political question. In substance of everything, this will be economic, that is financial question. So do not treat it as a political or territorial question and question of you existing on the territories. That's not going to be denied. Not now, not ever, because this entire planet exists on parameters of territorial integrity, people living on territories, and managing straightforward approach of living on the territories. That has not been denied. What has been denied is the financial system that is more like a blood circulation in the body. It is critically important because everything gets defined via the financial system. It is critically important event, and it is as such as it is rotten in substance. So do not call this political event, not even cultural event. We have been today celebrating cultures, celebrating territories, celebrating diversity. We establish God creates excellence on this planet on any territory, on any side of the world. You have to reach it each time, true. It's a well-known path how human reach excellence, 21st century. We don't need to teach any about it. We need to deal with the issues and with the problems. When something turns not to be correct, we have to take it out. And that is where we appear do not function. And that is rather unacceptable. On one side, that we claim excellence as a humanity, and on the other side, such lack of efficiency when it comes to our own problems and our own issues. No matter how big issue is, there would be a human to reach that and deliver recommendations. And when that happens, the others should not be confused. There should be clear vision what we need to deal with today and what is not to be endangered. We talk financial systems, we talk financial orders, the financial culture, financial sentiment, financial psychology, how far that destroys human, and how far the humans can become completely defeated by its dysfunctional political arrangements. Way how we manage is second problem, or it is equally important, clearly, and it is narrow connected to the financial system itself, the way how territories are managing their societies. It is much more diverse question, more structured, and we have discussed it in these 10 years. We have discussed a lot about managing societies as well. The specifics are the specifics, but it all depends on planetary perspectives and planetary approach and how we set the entire functioning on planetary levels, because this planet functions for quite some time in one same accord, and everything else just add up to it. But the mainstream culture continue to be main generator of mainstream behavior, and everything else just attaches to it. And if everyone try to go differently, it gets immediately punished. The latest event with coronavirus evidently have been showing to this world what can happen to nations that dare to step away from the system, from the mainstream approaches. In that category, I'm going to notice China. It was immediately, the moment wanted to step up and deliver different approach, immediately become punished with the strongest epidemic event of coronavirus. Similarly, Israel. Do not remind yourself, a real Israel people are the most vaccinated people. The ones that have been punished severely have been Jewish people and China, Japan territories associated somehow on backbone with Serbia and Serbia itself. Macedonia today almost disappearing from the surface of earth. It's like it's not there anymore. Macedonia became dead country. The rebels have been punished. Russians as well have been punished with 2 wars in the region. The beasts are still in America because they are the one that would lose everything, and they're willing to fight for it No matter if you call that devil, they do not give a damn is it God or is it devil. They are ready to fight for it to the end. The way how today it is being handled, the situation in Palestine, that is America. What is attacking today Palestine is America, not Israel. That is America. America today fights to take over the world or else. Yet, we have found nothing in that America. Literally nothing, apart of a couple of movie stars willing out there to bring some kind of imaginary characters that are more on the level of Neverland. And something that should be real is today Barbie. They continue to walk towards Himalayas rather. Let's see who is going to get the clouds sooner. And Neverland with it as well. Americans. The forces always try to return to its normal status. America is full of Babylonian societies. I really don't know why on earth they need all of the America in order to return from where they came. Richard Gere and the rest. Why you just don't go on your solo trip yourself? Why on earth you need to take entire America with you? Slash Clintons. There's only one force commanding with America today. That force is being called Clintons. Clintons today command America, and they are willing to go a distance without any negotiation. It takes madness to be determined that much. True. Very often we end up admiring a madness. The only difference, however, where our admiration is going to go would be about the titles. Are you a devil or a light? And Americans will need to answer today that question, because upon that question being correctly answered, it will depend the destiny of the entire America. My definition of Olymp is I build the world. I build my Russia, my China, my America, my South America, my Africa. And you don't cross your foot on my land and then you end up calling yourself God. Of course you will end up calling yourself devil, because the name of God has been reserved. And you know that very well.